Hey everyone. This painting here is going to be in at least two parts, possibly three. There was just too much information in here to include it all in one video. But we're going to focus on the flowers for this one for part one. And first of all, I went in and toned my canvas with a burnt sienna, a little mixture of burnt sienna and ultramarine blue, thinned down with just a little bit of taupe. And then I just kind of sketched in where I want my flowers and vase and the little mini vase to be. And you don't necessarily have to do all this in one painting. You could break this up and the flowers, they could stand as a painting on their own. So I just wanted to show you the focus on the flowers this week. And I need to next start sketching in or blocking in all the darks. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just making a dark background color. I'm not really paying attention to the color right now. I'm just kind of getting placement of all my darks and lights. And once I get in all of the background, I like to go in with a paper towel and wipe out some of the light areas. This may or may not stay like this, I'm not sure, but it gives an interesting background to it, so you don't have to think about what to do in the background areas. I want to, while this is wet, I'm getting just a little bit, I'm wadding up my paper towel like this and just get a touch, just a touch of turpentine on the end. And I'm squinting my eyes down and picking out what I see on the petals that are catching the light. I want a bit of a dark, I'm squinting my eyes down, and the back side of this flower is darker because it's on the shadow side, so I just want to darken that some back in here, some back in here. Just want to go ahead and put some of that darkness in there. Marking with all transparent colors still. That's going to be your burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson. If you have sap green on there, that's also transparent. I'm going to do a little more in these areas because there's some shadows that are coming through the leaves here, or the petals of the flowers. Like I said, I'm looking for dark areas. I want to mix a color for the sunflower petals that are in shadow. So we want to change up a little bit the coloration, the shape that's going on. Some of them will be grouped together. Some are more in shadow than others. Some are picking up more light than others. So we go through and vary that as we go along here. Some of these are where it's picking up a little more light, not a lot. And I would stay with the large brush at this point. It covers more ground. It keeps it from being too detailed. You get more abstract strokes with this, or with a large brush when you're doing this type of work. Let's see. I'm going to add a little more of this to... And notice I've got like kind of like a mother pool here, and I'm taking out from there different variations of this color and bending it different ways. Like right here, there's some darker petals. I see some dark shape there that it's got a cast shadow from the back side of it, from the light hitting petals on the back side. Okay, and find just little areas to kind of introduce some of that color there. This is a little bit smaller brush, so I can have a little bit more control over where I put that color in. And these are just the tips of some of those the petals catching light that
the rest of the petal is not seen, really. It's kind of bending up underneath there. And using the Gamblin solvent-free gel, this helps when you put strokes on there that you really would like to stay and not really blend in so much to the rest of the painting. It gives it a little more staying power, is kind of the only way I can describe it. It does loosen or liquefy the paint a little bit, but sometimes I'll use it for that reason, and then other times I'll just use it just because I want it to hold that stroke really, you know, where it's obvious that, hey, that's a really cool stroke there, and I wanted to leave it, make it obvious that it's there. Let's see. And I really don't use that until towards the end of the painting. But as I'm working on this flower here, I start to incorporate that into the strokes. And I just touch it a little bit like that and mix it into the paint that I'm about to pick up. I'm going to put some really bright areas. I'm not pure yellow, but mixing it with some of this here. But there are a couple spots that are just right out there in your face. There, and there's one back here. And I want to leave those, and this Gamblin solvent-free gel helps those strokes stay thick and just stay in place and not melt away. All right, I'm going to focus on this one here now. Now I can use the same mixture here, but I'm going to go a little more on the orange side with it. And I'm picking up some of the burnt siennas, the reds. Let's make a good mother pool here. You can do this with palette knife as well. lighten this even more and use it in the other flower real quick here. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Starting to have a Van Gogh thing going on here.
add a little more to the middle of that flower. Don't see a whole lot there, but to add a little more to it.
Okay, for this sunflower over here, I'm going to do like we did before and make a shadow type of color for the petals. I've added some blue to it to tone it down and to cool it off. I'm squinting down and looking for shapes. I'm going to add a little more blue to it. Looking for shapes. There's just a dark mass of it. When I squint down, it's darker over here because it's going away from the light source. I'm going to add a little more yellow to it. There we go. Okay. Random type of strokes. I don't want too many strokes to be similar. There's some of the petals that are in the light. It's not the brightest ones, but there are some that are catching light. Some of the areas over here. Some of the edges of those down there are catching more light. Some of this up in there is very orangey. Some up in here. It's in shadow, but I want to add a little more color. It's pretty much the same value, but I want to add some color. On this work right in here, I was using a filbert brush. Sorry, when I switched over, it's got longer bristles, but they're rounded off. So that kind of makes good for, you know, a petal, the end of a petal sometimes, if that's what you're going for. I want to make some of these brighter. I don't want to take away from these, but this is an area that has a lighter area on some of the petals. You want to capture that, but not so much to where it takes away from what's going on in the focal point. Now there is let's see, how are we going to do that? Because these are closer together than in the, there we go, that'll work. All right, let's see, there's one here. It's like the tip of it is in the light. It's not exactly like in the reference material, but it will work. Okay, I want to add a little bit of this red. Okay. I want a few more brighter strokes in this area. And want that one to be brighter. Maybe a little brighter. I'm gonna put some of that gel on it. There we go. It's there, but it's not so strong that it's taken away from the rest of it. Let's see, there's one here that's okay. I want these down here to be a little on the orange side. They need to be a little brighter, but I want them on the orange side. They're still in shadow, but I want a little more color going on. And you don't need every little portion of it being portrayed to give the impression of what it actually is. And these sunflowers have such a big, I don't know what they're called, base, I guess, just to the flower. There's a bit of a shadow on the underside of this. Put a little more